Hello guys, welcome to my channel JinnZaar. JinnZaar means Land of the Jinns. My name is Rizwan and here I shall narrate and share supernatural incidents that happened to me, stories told by friends, tales passed down by elders, and spooky stories sent to me by all of you. If you also want to share supernatural incidents that happened to you or anyone from your friends and family, you can send them to me in writing or as a voice note at my email address jinnzar@gmail.com. I will select the best stories, narrate them, and share them on my channel. Before we start today's story, I suggest you to finish your chores, get in your warm and comfy bed, put on your earphones, and close your eyes so you can fully enjoy this story on these freezing winter nights. The earth was inhabited by Jinn before the human. Ever since God created and sent human to earth, rivalry between Jinn and human began. Jinn harbored deep envy and hatred towards human, seeking revenge or causing harm whenever they see an opportunity. Their lifespan and population are vastly greater than humans. While humans might have 1 or 2 children in a given time frame, jinns are said to produce 10 to 15 offsprings in the same period. It is for our good that God didn't grant human the ability to see jinn. If human could see the vast number of jinn surrounding them, it would lead to constant fear, paranoia, and an inability to focus on daily tasks. Just imagine you are laying in a bed in a small room while dozens of terrifying jinn stare at you with hatred. Would you be able to focus on anything else or sleep peacefully? Would you be able to live a normal life? I don't think so. So let's start today's story, which is very horror. I request you all to listen to the story until the end so you can enjoy and understand it properly. Let's begin today's story. This terrifying tale has been shared with us by Maham. Greetings Rizwan. My name is Maham and I'm from Jhelum, Pakistan. The story I'm going to share with you today is based on true series of supernatural incidents that happened on my maternal family side. My maternal family lives in a small village near Sargodha, Pakistan. Since childhood, my family, my aunts and cousins have always visited our grandparents' house during winter holidays. I'm the eldest child in my maternal family and the dearest to my grandparents. In fact, I always sleep with my grandmother when we visit them. According to my grandmother, all of this started with my great-grandfather, who was a successful farmer back in 1970s. When tractors were newly introduced in Pakistan, he bought one and learned to drive it. One day, due to an emergency, great-grandpa was rushing home from farm when suddenly a kitten jumped onto the dirt road and got crushed under his tractor's tire. Great-grandpa immediately stopped. Seeing the dead kitten, he felt sorry, but thought what could be done now. He placed the kitten's body under a tree and continued driving home. Everything seemed normal afterward. My grandparents got married and life moved on. My great-grandpa was a healthy man who had never been sick a day in his life, but suddenly he fell ill with a high fever and became bedridden. Around the same time, a field caught wildfire, destroying the entire crops and tractor. My great-grandpa couldn't cope with the loss and passed away shortly after. Grandma tells first incident happened when my mother was 3 years old. A strange pain started in Grandpa's back. Pain would start every night and would get enough intensity that despite being young and fit, my grandpa would literally scream with pain. Went to many doctors but no medicine worked. Until they found a Hakim, a traditional healer, who told about a herb which is usually 1 meter tall and only can be found in deep jungle on the other side of the riverbank. He told to boil the herb in water and tie on the waist for a week continuously. Grandpa was relieved listening to this and decided to go next day after sunrise. But nature had its own plan. That night, another wave of pain started, which was unbearable. Despite Grandma insisted, Grandpa took his bicycle and moved for jungle on the other side of riverbank. It was a cold night, full moon. Grandpa riding his bicycle with terrible pain in the back. Once he reached nearby jungle, upon searching for a few minutes, he found the herb. But before he could start plucking, he noticed a small human girl is sitting on the field's mud divider. He was shocked to see and was thinking, where would this kid come from when there is no house nearby? Then he thought, maybe someone came to water the crops and she came with them. While busy in plucking herb, Grandpa asked, "Who are you, my dear? Where are your parents?" But no answer given. Once Grandpa done plucking a required quantity, he looked at the girl and asked again, "Can you speak, my dear?" In moonlight, the face was not visible, but Grandpa noticed that she was looking much grown up than before, which gave him goosebumps that no human child could possibly would be here alone in this cold night. He instantly turned to his bicycle and made a move from there. But this time, the bicycle was very heavy to ride, like he's carrying a lot of weight on it. In moonlight, he noticed a big shadow on bicycle alongside his own shadow. He started reciting Ayatul Kursi. The shadow and the weight was increasing gradually, but he kept reciting and riding bicycle and safely reached home. Once Grandma opened the door, Grandpa passed out and only got his consciousness after a few hours and told all the story to Grandma. It took him 1 week to recover from high fever, and his back pain also got cured with the herb. After a few years of this incident, another terrifying incident happened with my grandma. Before this, I need to tell you guys that there is a big graveyard between our village and the farms area. It's a long distance if we use dirt road to go to farms. So villagers take shortcut and cross graveyard every day to go to the farms. Especially ladies from the village go to farms every day to send lunch to their husbands working on the farms. It was a hot summer day. Grandma got late from a funeral in a house in a village. She rushed back home and thought to take all the cooking things to farm and cook there, so Grandpa would not get worried waiting. Grandma put wheat flour, raw meat, some spices inside a pot, put on her head and moved for farm through graveyard. Halfway in graveyard, where two paths meet, Grandma noticed a lady covered in a black color abaya were coming from other path and started walking with her. She asked Grandma, "Sister, where are you heading?" Grandma told her that we got a farm across graveyard. She said, "Let's walk together as a farm is on that side as well, and I'll leave few houses next to yours on corner of the street." And they started walking together. After walking few yards, a sudden thought took on Grandma's mind that the house she is talking about is abandoned for few years and in ruins. Grandma looked at her feet. Oh my goodness. Her feet were pointed backwards. Grandma was like unable to breathe in terror, but she controlled herself without showing any panic reaction. Grandma started to think, I go on this route every day. Then how come all of a sudden today this creature got attracted? Probably it was the raw meat in the pot on her head, because Jinn get attracted towards raw meat in a condition that no human have eaten it or touched it with their mouth. Grandma slowly moved her hand and took a piece of meat and put it in her mouth chewed it, mixed it back in the meat inside the pot, and started reciting Ayatul Kursi. After walking few yards only, the women started walking away. Grandma rushed to the farm and started crying seeing Grandpa. Grandpa was shocked to see her in this condition. Upon told the incident, Grandpa calmed her down and both thanked to God that Grandma is safe. After more than 2 decades of this incident happened the biggest, most painful and terrifying incident in our family. I was 11 years old on the time. I have only one uncle, youngest sibling of my mom. It was winter and as usual we were in grandparents' house. We all were very happy as my aunt given birth to 2 babies. They were twins, 1 baby boy and 1 baby girl. Firstly, it is necessary that I tell you the layout of my grandparents' house. It's a single-story house. Once we enter the main door, on the right side there's a guest room, a kitchen, a toilet, and a staircase for rooftop. A big open courtyard in the middle, and there are 4 rooms across the courtyard. If we sit or lay in any of the rooms with windows or door open, we can see courtyard, staircase for the rooftop, and rooftop boundary walls. One night, my aunt was laying in her room with her twins. My uncle smoked cigarette. Even in winter, he would go out or on rooftop at night to smoke. As usual that night, he went out to smoke, left the door open on his back. After a few minutes, my aunt looked at the rooftop where someone was standing with one leg on rooftop's small boundary walls, looking directly at her. At first, aunt thought it's my uncle, but by appearance, it was a woman's body. Even from far, the eyes were like raining terror. Aunt was still trying to figure out what she was seeing, and suddenly, my uncle entered from the door. Aunt was shocked, but upon asking, uncle told that he didn't go to rooftop today and were in toilet in fact. Once aunt told what she saw, uncle went to rooftop to check. But as soon as uncle got away from her eyes, aunt seen the same lady coming down from stairs and walking toward her bedroom and entered inside. She was tall, fully covered in black cloth, eyes like ball of fire, and feet were inverted direction. She straightway headed and took the baby girl. Aunt was terrified but attacked her and snatched her daughter back. After that, the Jinn carried baby boy. Aunt kept fighting. She put down the daughter and snatched her son back. But the Jinn again took the daughter and leashed out a scream full of terror, which made my aunt fell on her back. Jinn took the baby girl and went toward the rooftop. We all heard screams and came out and ran towards aunt's room. I can still recall that I seen a woman going upstairs, but we all still didn't know what's going on actually. We entered the room and aunt was crying and screaming. She took my daughter. She took my daughter. Grandpa and my dad rushed upstairs, but there were no women there. In fact, my uncle were laying passed out in a corner. Grandpa and dad sprinkled some water on his face. Once he got his consciousness, he told that once he came upstairs, I seen a woman sitting in the corner, crying and saying, "He killed my daughter. He killed my daughter." I went near and asked, "Who are you? And who killed your daughter?" She turned back at me and oh God, her face like hell's door. After that, I passed out. Hearing noises and screams from her house, and neighbors also gathered. Everyone were looking for their woman and uncle's daughter, but it was like they went invisible. We called Imam from nearby masjid. He came to our house and told that he need to summon the jinn, and for that he chosen me as a medium, because the requirement to be a medium was that a kid who haven't reached his or her puberty. I only can recall that he made me sit asked me to close my eyes and hold my finger for my nail. Grandma tells that after a few minutes of that, the jinn spoke through me. My voice changed and it was a high-pitched and terrorizing voice. Jinn spoken, "Yes, I have taken the child. I have taken my revenge." Imam asked, "What revenge?" Jinn said, "Her great-grandfather killed my child. One day, my daughter was playing when he ran her over and thrown under a tree. I killed him after a few weeks. After that, I tried to kill her grandfather near a jungle, grandmother in a graveyard, and her mother in childhood, but they survived luckily. Today I have taken my revenge, and I shall not stop here. I shall take daughters from their generations." Imam tried his best to convince the jinn that her great-grandfather didn't know it was a jinn's offspring. For him, it was just a kitten, and it was a mistake. But the jinn didn't want to let it go. Imam told my grandfather that we shall have to kill this jinn, because the jinn is full of grudge, and if we leave him, it will cause more harm. Grandpa and uncle agreed. Imam started reciting Al-Quran, and after a long reciting, the jinn got burned and died. This was the most horror and painful incident in our family. Even though God blessed my uncle and aunt with more kids, but the loss of their daughter never can be forgotten. So guys, this was today's story. May God give patience to our family and protect all of you from such entities and pain caused by those. I hope you all liked the story and my narration. If you also want to share your stories with me, please send it to my email address given in description below. Until next time, goodbye.